There are people all across the nation that are trying to be a voice to our leadership in order to affect positive change.
Gun violence survivors sharing their stories to impact change in Louisville. Tonight, how they hope to move the city forward. Then,
it's like you can't help but get into the spirit, especially if you're here physically.
Opening night at the track, how fans are reacting to the latest additions at Churchill Downs. It's all new right here on the Night Team.
Because at the end of the day, if we don't do the work ourselves, nobody's going to be able to come in here and save this city.
Tonight, survivors of gun violence hoping to make a change in the community, gathering to toss ideas around on how they can make Louisville safer. Hello everyone, I am Jim Stratman. Thanks for joining us on the Night Team. Today's meeting comes more than 2 weeks after the city was rocked by 2 separate mass shootings. Now, the roundtable was hosted by the Austin Floyd Foundation and the Voice of Black Mothers United. They hope to create a space where survivors could not only share their concerns about Louisville, but gather ideas for how to improve the city. They hope they can draw more people to help, noting gun violence impacts everyone.
To be honest with you, far too many of us have gun violence in common now. And paying attention to what's going on across America and in our own community over the last 2 weeks, none of us are exempt from it. So we need to collectively play a role in its eradication.
It only takes one person to make a difference, and I just hope each individual that lives here takes that time to make that conscious decision to wake up each morning, to love thy neighbor as thyself, and make Louisville a better place.
Organizers hope they can take ideas suggested today to improve the lives of survivors of gun violence in Louisville, noting many survivors are facing poverty or homelessness. We now know the name of the man who was killed after he was stabbed in the Russell neighborhood late Friday morning. Police say it happened just after 10:30 on West Market Street near South 26th Street. According to arrest records, 36-year-old Tyrone Eugene was seen on surveillance video stabbing the victim multiple times. The victim, Nathaniel Webster, later died at the hospital. Detectives say Eugene admitted to the stabbing. He's now been charged with murder. We also know the name of a man who was allegedly beaten to death in the Shawnee neighborhood. Police say 2 weeks ago they were called out to South 42nd Street near Herman Street to reports of a man down. When officers arrived, they found Jackie Joe Woodard suffering from severe head trauma. Woodard was rushed to the hospital where he died a few days later. Now, according to arrest documents, witnesses say that Tony Glasper admitted to beating Woodard with a tire iron. Police say that they found a tire iron and blood in Glasper's car. He's now been charged with assault with a murder charge pending. Today, the University of Louisville hosted a summit in hopes to promote physical and mental health of people who are trans. It comes nearly a month after Kentucky lawmakers passed sweeping anti-trans legislation. Now, today's summit featured healthcare professionals, advocates, experts, speakers, and interactive workshops, as well as resources on the latest advancements in trans health. Organizers hoped attendees would be able to connect with one another, learn from experts, and leave with a better understanding of how to support and care for themselves and others in the trans community.
We want Louisville to be a very welcoming and affirming city for people who are transgender, and we all want them to thrive here, not only just be healthy, but to be able to thrive.
When we have events like this, where everyone is, when we have doctors, we have, community leaders, we have all of that, we realize we're not alone.
This year's keynote speakers for the event were Anya Marino and Alana McLaughlin. Now, Marino is the first transgender woman of color to teach at Harvard Law and is the current Miss Trans USA. Meanwhile, McLaughlin is a transgender woman who is a U.S. Army Special Forces veteran and a current MMA fighter. Well, after an extremely late night, the Indiana legislature officially came to a close in the early hours of Friday morning.
At this time, I move at 2:46 a.m., which might be a new record, April 28th, 2023, the Senate now adjourn, sine die.
Questions on the adoption of the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Stands in adjournment to sine die.
The nearly 4-month session included some hot-button issues, including the passing of anti-trans legislation prohibiting youth from accessing gender-affirming care. Schools in the state would also be required to notify parents if their child requests a name or pronoun change at the school, a step that could out young transgender people to their families. Indiana also expanded birth control access in the wake of the abortion ban passed last year. Indiana residents could no longer need to even see a doctor and get a prescription to obtain birth control from the pharmacy. But what led to the late-night session was Indiana approving a 2-year budget. The Republican-controlled legislature pushed up tax cuts and expanded eligibility for students to attend private schools on state funds. Governor Eric Holcomb announcing his support for the budget yesterday.
It is a generational impact budget. Its policies and plans can be viewed as we do as a blueprint for growth, and we're going to be busy building up and growing all over the state of Indiana.
Lawmakers did not give Governor Holcomb everything that he requested in his budget. Notably, lawmakers did not provide as much funding as the governor requested for expanding the health department. That funding would have been aimed to improve the state's low rankings in obesity, smoking, and life expectancy. Well, Derby Week is officially in full swing with opening night festivities at Churchill Downs wrapping up right about now. WHAS11's reporter Connor Steffen and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie took to the racetrack to kick off the 2023 spring meet with fans from all over the world.
All right, let's go. Let's go, 4, 6.
Making their wagers and taking their seats.
What'd you have?
The one horse, he finished second.
For Saturday's 10-card race.
Opening day here at Churchill Downs, the kickoff to the spring meet. It's hard to put into words what it's like to be in the middle of such a spectacle alongside thousands of other people.
They piled into the paddocks in droves.
So now I'm here with my buds in the best city in the world.
Some come for sport.
The memories of all the things that you saw, the sights, the sounds, just knowing that you've been here that night.
But it's hard to miss the fashion.
That's my favorite part. People watching the outfits that people...
Because everyone knows if you're hitting the racetrack, you're doing so in style.
Let's just talk about the importance of fashion.
So there are a lot of considerations for all of the Derby events.
I just love the mixture. Yeah. People dress up, a little down. I just love it all.
From head.
So I made the hat. I made it this morning.
To toe.
It's the shoes.
Derby is go big or go home.
And we'd be remiss not to talk about bourbon.
Just as important are the old fashions and mint juleps.
There's a party all week long. We're bringing it all week long.
Creating memories that last a lifetime. It's why some travel hundreds, even thousands of miles to Louisville.
We're from southeast Nebraska. So it was probably about 400 miles, I would say.
Is this a bucket list item?
Oh, definitely. I got a list on my phone of all the things I want to do in my life yet, and Kentucky trip was one of them.
Some never get the chance to make their way to Derby Week, making it all the more sweet a reminder for those lucky enough to call Louisville home.
So the energy that it brings our city and, the memories that we get to make with all of our friends, and no one's a stranger at the track. You make so many new friends and you have so much fun. That's what I'm most looking forward to.
At Churchill Downs, Connor Steffen, WHAS11 on your side.
Well, this morning, 2 long-standing Kentucky Derby Festival events kicked off. The Kentucky Derby Festival Mini Marathon shot off around 7 o'clock this morning, and this year's event was a major one, celebrating 50 years. To honor the milestone, they brought back the man who helped make it all happen, Harvey Sloan. Our Reed Yaten got to talk with him this morning about the long-standing tradition that he ran while mayor.
What's your favorite memory of that era and of this race in particular?
Well, I loved Iroquois Park.
Beautiful.
Just a beautiful park, and we started there and we went around and ended up in town. I remember when in 1974, it was hot.
Yeah.
And we still had some pollution in the city, so it made it a little more difficult.
And at that point, the race started a little later in the morning, didn't it?
Yeah, it was. So it was a push.
Meanwhile, at the finish line, it was Dominic Corrier who took home the mini marathon title for the men, followed closely by Louisville's own Japheth Kipkech. Meanwhile, Joylyn Kimuti crossed the line first for the women, and Louisville's own Caroline Gosser finished third. But for many at the finish line, it was just enough to finish the feat.
I've gotten away from running for a while. You know, I am getting older, so it's just a personal goal to, you know, appreciate each day, appreciate your help, and get back into the runnings.
This is a beautiful city. I mean, it is like running through it, going through the, I don't know what you call it, the Kentucky Derby, whatever. Yeah, it's. I mean, that was fantastic.
And once you finish that finish line, everybody's happy.
Meanwhile, the balloon race also launched at 7 o'clock this morning. It was a little bit tighter. This year's winner, Sol Air, piloted by Sean Raya, beat the reigning champion, Mirazan, by half an inch. A great balloon race also celebrating its 50th edition today.